Hi, okay, so my name is Raymond Zhu, and I'm working on a poetry project on William Blake with my partner Leonardo Tang. I'm in Miss Orlick's third period class. So my poem is A Poison Tree by William Blake, and first I'll be reading it to you, and then I'll be explaining it to you. A poison tree. I was angry with my friend. I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sunned it with smiles, and with soft, deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright, and my foe beheld it shine, and he knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree. William Blake. Okay, so for the theme, I chose when humans suppress their anger, it is combined with fear and sorrow to grow into an outcome much worse. So I separated this into three parts. First, when humans suppress their anger, that's the condition in which this happens. And two, it is combined with fear and sorrow, which is something that happens when humans suppress their anger. And three, to grow into an outcome much worse. So this is the final outcome, or what happens at the end. So the first topic I chose to analyze to support my theme is symbolism. So the first symbol that obviously presents itself throughout the poem is plants. The title of this poem is called A Poison Tree, which is obviously a reference to a plant. And also many other parts of the poem reference to the plants. In stanza 2 it says, I watered in fears and I sunned it with smiles. So water and sun are both necessary needs of a plant for it to grow. So this shows that this is a plant and that it helps the poison tree to grow. And also one more sign that this is a plant is that it says the poison tree bears an apple bright. So many plants produce fruit, and this one is no different. The tree produces an apple, and what I think this symbolizes is that the apple symbolizes the fruiting of the poison tree, which is the consequence of festering anger of the speaker. It says right here, I told it not, my wrath did grow. I was angry with my foe. I told it not, my wrath did grow. So this, and then as it grows, the poison tree, it is fed by fears, by being watered with fears, or sun smiles. So the other symbol I have is the one of night and day. So William Blake goes to great lengths to show how night and day affect. So it says in stanza 2, night and morning with my tears, and later on it says, and it grew both day and night. And then it says, when the night had veiled the pole, and in the morning glad I see. So you can see that generally night is associated with the enemy, and the day and the morning is associated with the speaker. So I think this symbolizes the stark difference between the speaker and his enemy, and also the anger between it. So how does this symbol support my theme? Well, the plant one supports all three parts of my theme. First, it says when humans suppress their anger. So when humans suppress their anger, it combines with fear and sorrow. So right here it says, the tree is watered with fears and sunned with smiles. So this shows the combination of fears and sorrow to grow, and because these are two necessary needs, it helps the plant to grow. So the third part is to grow an outcome much worse. This is also represented by the plants, because the poison tree produces an apple, and this apple is eaten by his enemy. So when this apple is eaten by his enemy, the enemy dies, because it says, my foe outstretched beneath the tree, and it says the speaker is glad to see that. So we're assuming that the speaker is glad to see that his enemy is dead, not that other options is that his foe is sleeping, but why would the speaker be glad to see his foe come into his garden, eat his apple, and then fall asleep? So that doesn't make sense. So we obviously know that we're going to assume that his foe is dead now from eating the apple. So this shows that it grows into an outcome much worse just because of their little bit of anger, a festering anger. It would result in death for one of them. The next thing I chose to analyze was the tone of this poem. So the tone of this poem is very simple. It's like a children's story because as you can see, William Blake uses a lot of simple words. There's not many hard vocabulary words or archaic English words. So this sets for a simple, childish poem. So another thing that makes this childish is the rhyme scheme. I was angry with my friend and foe grow. So this is an example of A, B, B, because and, friend, and rhyme, foe and grow rhyme. So this is A, B, B. So this simple rhyme scheme helps also add to the childish because a lot of children's stories use this rhyme scheme. So this just makes the tone, because this leads the mood to be more unassuming. The tone and mood, the mood is generally unassuming because it's set by simple words. But this creates it even more, makes it even more creepy and scary because the topic they're talking about is so sinister and serious that it should not be represented by these simple words or this rhyme scheme. And so this sets an ominous mood. So this upholds the third part of my theme, which says this tree will grow into an outcome much worse because it exaggerates the outcome, because in this children's story, someone's going to end up dying. So that's why it results into growing an outcome much worse. Okay, so another topic, the last topic I chose to analyze was the diction or word choice and also the imagery. So the clearest example of imagery happens at the end in the last stanza and the last two lines. It says, "In the morning glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree." So this paints an image in the viewer's head that the foe is lying beneath this tree and you can see the speaker smiling and watching him and smiling. So this paints an image that he's happy that he just killed his enemy, and that because he's glad, that it tells us that he's probably dead, not alive, like I said earlier. So also diction, he doesn't use many negative words aside from like deceitful, or anger, or wrath. Most of these words are pretty nice, like smiles, sunned, soft, beheld, shine. So instead of saying that everyone's like mad at each other or killing each other or like total anarchy, he tries to analyze this like really softly. So it just like emphasizes the part 3 of my theme that says it grows into an outcome much worse because everyone's happily killing each other like it's no big deal. So when he says, "And my foe beheld it shine to a born apple bright," this apple is supposed to be evil because it causes his enemy's death. And he's saying it bears an apple bright and his foe beheld it shine. And he knew that it was mine. So this doesn't say that he hates it or anything. He just likes it. And then he actually comes into the garden to steal it. It says, "And into my garden stole, and then I had bailed the pole." So he obviously, the apple is not too, it doesn't turn him away from it. He actually likes to come and steal it. Okay, so that's all I have to analyze today. Thank you for listening to me. And next we'll have Leonardo Tang analyzing another William Blake poem. Thank you. Okay, so next I analyzed the sound element. So the biggest sound element that appealed to me was definitely the meter. So majority of this poem is written in iambic tetrameter, which, just as a refresher, an iamb is a group of 2 syllables which are unstressed and stressed in that order. So unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. And tetrameter just means that there's 4 groups of these syllables. 4 groups of these 2-syllable feet. So this is first in line 2. It says, "I told my wrath did end." See, there's 4 groups of 2 syllables. I told is 1, my wrath is 2, my wrath is 3, did end is 4. So this is unstressed stressed because it's an iamb. I told my wrath did end. So this is the first kind of meter that appears in the poem. The other kinds of meters are trochee. So these lines are trochee, and what's a trochee? It's the opposite of an iamb. So it's basically the same thing, except that instead of being unstressed, stressed, this one is stressed, unstressed. So where can we find an example of this? Easy, line 1. Line 1 says, "I was angry with my friend." So this is an example of trochaic trimeter. So there's 3 feet, each feet has 2 syllables, these 2 syllables are stressed and unstressed, and trochaic just means that it's a trochee. So I was angry with my friend. So you might point out to me that because I said it's trochaic trimeter, 3 times 2 should be 6, right? But the first line has 7 syllables, and so do the other lines that have trochaic trimeter. Well, this extra syllable comes at the end. This word friend is the extra syllable. So why does William Blake put this extra syllable? Well, why? I think this is because in this relationship between the anger between the speaker and his enemy, there's only the tree and that's about it. But there's another item that is like a point to think about. So this is the apple. So I think that this small syllable squeezed in at the end of the trochaic trimeter phrase represents the apple, because the apple is seemingly small but does a lot, and this syllable does the same thing. It's the same thing. So how does this represent the theme? How does this support the theme? Well, I thought that these 2 clearly different meters represented the speaker and his enemy again. So the trochee, because the trochee is the opposite of the iamb, It's perfect for the speaker and the enemy because they're obviously very different, and one of them is angry at the other. So the trochee is the opposite. So that's why I chose that. The difference between iambic tetrameter and trochaic trimeter is just like the speaker and the phobe, because the trochee is the opposite of the iamb. So this relates to the first part of my theme, which says that when humans suppress their anger, that it is combined with fear and sorrow. So when humans suppress their anger, this anger is directed at their foe or their opponent. And so that's where this meter and sound element comes from.
The Tyger by William Blake. Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distance, deeps or skies, burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain? In what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tyger, Tyger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame thy fearful symmetry?
In my opinion, the theme statement of the Tyger is that the divine creation of a tangible object that inspires awe and fear is of questionable wisdom. This theme statement combines all the elements of the poem into one cohesive sentence. For example, the divine creation is derived from the fourth stanza. What the hammer, what the chain, in what furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp, dare its deadly terrors clasp? The tangible object is, obviously, the Tyger. The awe and fear comes from word choice, such as burning, immortal, fearful, fire, dare, seize, dread, and terrors, and many more. The questionable wisdom comes from all the question marks in this poem. As you can see, there are a lot of them. Here I've highlighted some symbols that I will be going over. I'll start at the top and work my way down. First up is the Tyger. The poem's not talking about an actual tiger. The Tyger is a metaphor for something that inspires awe and fear, as stated in my theme statements. Burning bright, the Tyger's not actually burning bright. Burning bright is a symbol that represents awe and intensity. When something's burning, it's usually very intense, and when it's burning brightly, everyone can see it around for miles. So it's a beacon of light, so everyone looks to it. The immortal hand or eye alludes to a creator, and this goes hand in hand with frame. Is alluding to the creator framing something, which is basically making. The fire of thine eyes is almost the same as burning bright. It's intensity and anger. The wings that he dare aspire, wings usually allude to courage. So they're commending the creator's courage to create such a creature. Now the next stanza, stanza 3, shoulder, art, sinews of the heart, hand and feet, those are all metaphorical for the parts of whatever that tangible object is that is creating awe and fear, as stated in the theme statement. The hammer, chain, anvil, and grasp are all symbolic of a higher up, a creator. The line in between says, in what furnace was thy brain? The furnace, where the brain was, is symbolic to a forge where things are made. Basically, they're asking where was the brain, the control center of the Tyger, made. Brain is also symbolic of the Tyger as a whole, since it's the control center. In the next stanza, stanza 5, where it says, when the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears. This is symbolic of saying that basically everything, because the stars are the highest of the highest, it's symbolic saying that everything has given up by throwing down their spears. Throwing down spears is basically a sign of giving up in battle, and that's where this comes from. When it says, and watered heaven with their tears, that means that they've given up all hope. The tears symbolic of their hopelessness. The next line says, did he smile at his work to see? He means the creator. Is he smiling at his work? Is he proud of making something so terrible as the tiger or any other tangible object that inspires awe and fear? The next line says, did he who made the lamb make thee? This is also talking about the creator again. And for this you need some background knowledge. The Lamb is another poem written by William Blake that explores the peaceful side. It's almost like the exact opposite of the tiger. So basically what this is saying is that can the creator make something like the lamb and the tiger at the same time? Two complete polar opposites. Is it even possible? Next up we have tone and mood. I'd like to talk about mood first because mood gives more of an overall idea since it's the atmosphere. In the tiger, the atmosphere / mood of the poem is dark and filled with respect and fear. There are many words that can exemplify this, such as forests, immortal, fearful, distant, fire, dare, seas, twist, dread, furnace, deadly, terrors, through, burning, forest, immortal, same things as the first stanza. The tone of the narrator of the tiger is filled with awe and fear. Many of the same words used to describe the mood also apply to the tone. These two things usually come hand in hand, so I left those highlighted up here. However, I like to go over 3 big words that contribute to the mood. First off, what? What is a question word? Which usually, when you question something, you usually don't know why it happens. So usually, you might fear it, but you're definitely in awe of it. The next one, dare. Dare is also one of those words you use when it's something that you wouldn't do yourself, so you're also sort of questioning it too. If you wouldn't do yourself, you would probably fear it, and you're definitely in awe of someone who would do it. You usually respect someone who's done a big dare, even in regular life. The last word, fearful. Fearful is sort of self-explanatory for the fear factor, but also many people are afraid of things because they are in awe of it. As you can see, punctuation is a big part of the tiger. When you read the tiger, what punctuation marks do you see? It's not even that hard for you, I highlighted all of them for you. It's question marks. This poem is like a huge question. This ties back to the theme because the theme statement was, the divine creation of a tangible object that inspires awe and fears of questionable wisdom. These question marks stress upon the questionable wisdom. The narrator of the poem is questioning the wisdom of the creator to be making something like the tiger. There are, if you count these, there's a total of 13 question marks in this thing. 13! That's a lot. Next, there's also one more piece of punctuation that I like to go over, but this one's so big that it deserves a different highlighted color. Let's go purple. No, blue. Blue. Guess what it is? It's the exclamation mark. There's only one exclamation mark in this entire poem. And why is it at the end of the 4th stanza? That comes next in the line/meter section. There are a lot of sound elements in this poem as well. The first of which comes from the rhyme and parallelism in the poem. The rhyme and the parallelism in the poem creates a sort of atmosphere that makes it seem like a creepy chant, like a druidic chant that you would hear around a fire. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame that fearful symmetry? Another thing that is a sound element in this poem is the number of syllables and words in each line of each stanza. In the beginning, tiger, tiger, burning bright. Sounds pretty, it's decently long. Next one, in what distance deeps or skies? A little shorter. And what shoulder and what art? Even less syllables. What the hammer, what the chain? This has the least syllables in the entire poem. The number of syllables and words decrease all the way until the end of the 4th stanza, which is coincidentally where the exclamation mark is. This is the reason for the exclamation mark, because this is almost like the climax of the poem, the point of most intensity. The reader speeds up as the syllables and words get shorter, and they finally go back to their slower reading, the 5th and 6th stanzas, where there are more words and syllables per line. So basically, when you start reading from the top of the poem, start at a normal pace, reading as normally as you would. As you keep going down, you read faster and faster due to the number of syllables and words per line, almost like the rising action of a story plot. The climax of the story plot would be at the end of the 4th stanza with the exclamation points. Once you get to the exclamation points / climax, you go back down to the last 2, the falling action of the story plots. The last one is the denouement, and this is exemplified because it is almost a refrain of the very first stanza with only one word change. This signifies closure of the poem.